Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratzlavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey, and welcome to this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast. We're to episode 19. So thank you for joining us. This is a podcast where we talk about everything tech, from AI to VR, robots to flying cars. This week I'm joined by Paul Bratzlavsky, Sarah Kimmel, and Bobby Davis. And in this week's show, we're going to talk about Facebook now wants to pay creators, ChatGPT in your car, but only if you have a Mercedes and you're willing to run a beta. And surprise, surprise, you'll be shocked by this, but the US government is buying your data. And finally, we'll talk about an Amazon user was shut out of their Amazon-powered smart home devices over a seemingly misunderstanding. And then we'll wrap it up with our null, not null recommendation section, as we always do. So let's get into our first story here. Facebook now wants to pay their creators. So this is kind of like in the same vein as TikTok does now, and as YouTube always has, and Instagram, which I know is owned by Meta, is another Facebook app. But basically, it's going to allow you to. There's a few ways they're going to monetize this. Apparently, they're going to cross-post reels and stories from Instagram to Facebook. So using your existing content on the platform, you're going to be able to cross-post and monetize on Facebook. They've updated something called its partnership ads eligibility requirements, which allows certain creators using pages to give brands permission to run ads on their pages. So I think that's more of an agreement between the page owner and an actual brand to say, hey, Mr. Coca-Cola, you can run an ad on my page now, which is only going to be for big pages, I'm guessing. And then something called a performance bonus program that rewards creators for garnering strong engagement with their content on Facebook. Again, I think this is more for bigger creators. But they have lowered their limitations now, just like YouTube did recently. YouTube lowered their threshold for monetization slightly in a kind of way. So they lowered it from, it used to be 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. It's now 500 subscribers, and I think much less watch hours. I don't know what the watch hours are. But
I think it's 3,000. 3,000?
Okay, but they've lowered it. But it's not for full monetization on YouTube. It only allows the community ads and those kind of things, and some of those extra features that were locked behind that feature before. So you're not officially part of the YouTube partnership program. So it's a little bit like that. It's now on Facebook. It's going to be, you have to have 500 followers over the last 30 days, whereas it used to be 1,000 over the last 60. So they've lowered it a little bit and introduced these new things. So we're all creators here. We all have YouTube channels. We all create on other platforms too. So Paul, I'll come to you first. With this being a thing, so platforms like Reddit and Twitter recently have had a hard time monetizing, right? The Reddit, we've seen a lot of stuff about Reddit recently. They have this blackout thing going on over kind of being able to monetize their platform. Twitter, we have the blue check mark trying to monetize their platform. They can't do it right either. Basically, these platforms where content is king, right? Where users are putting content on, they're seeing a lot of backlash when they're trying to monetize. So is social media that doesn't pay its creators a thing of the past? Do they now need to pay their creators? Is this a good idea for Facebook? And are you going to start putting your content up there?
I think when you say pay creators, like the amount of effort you have to put in to justify like an income from YouTube that you're able to live on is insane. And so I feel like they're benefiting obviously the most. Like if they wanted to make creators more happy, it's like they could have like a bigger split, because to them, it's like they could have any creator do whatever they want. They could make ad revenue, and because they have this huge pool of many creators. But if you're like a single creator, the payout you get, I get like what, $3, $4 on my channel. Like, I mean, it's not
Right.
enough. If anything, I'm putting time. And so I think it will serve people whose content is very popular, and it depends on the genre. And if you have a huge following, it's helpful, but I think it's peanuts compared to what you could make if you're like selling your own product, or if you're having, other companies that want to advertise in your videos and stuff like that. So ad revenue to me, it's like underthought. Like if I get popular enough and I'm able to make money off it, it's great, but it should never be a creator's main kind of way of making revenue. And the reason I feel that way is because it's going to take you forever to get to a level where you're making a livable wage. Like if you are a creator, like think of like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're using as a tool in your toolbox. But when it comes to making money and monetizing, you have to figure out your own strategy that you control the workflow. And that's why, even though you might have a huge subscriber like on YouTube, you should still have your own email list and build your own list that you're able to talk to and have ownership with. Because if you don't, and YouTube, let's say, disappears, or they change things, or Facebook disappears, or they change things, you're going to be left out on your butt on the street. Basically, they're not going to help you unless you're one of these like multi-billion-dollar creators. So for me, that's kind of my thought on that.
Definitely. I'm 100% with you. Putting all your eggs in like one basket is a bad move. And even when you do, you've got to get to hundreds of thousands of subscribers to make decent money on something like YouTube. Mm-hmm. We're close to 100,000 on the Coder Foundry YouTube channel, and there's no way that makes a living wage for somebody. It doesn't make a living wage for a single person. So it's like, but we don't use it that way. It's like that's just extra for us. But yeah, and the same thing. I agree. You have to own your revenue stream, because if you don't, you can get cut off like that. Me with Twitter. Like if I relied on Twitter, by the way, day 9 today, I've still been banned.
You're still. I keep checking. You're still
guess what my null is later. Still banned day 9. If I relied on that for revenue in any way, I'd be in trouble. Like, and because I'm literally banned for zero reason. They've just decided to cut me off. And if they did the same with YouTube, which I'm sure if I asked Bobby about, if they ever cut him off on YouTube, I know they have. We had a previous YouTube channel that they cut us off on.
Yeah, so, they could easily do that. Yeah.
I think what's going to come out of this, I do think, and this is related to the story we're going to talk about later, is I do think there's going to come out of this, there's going to be some type of creator rights. And I thought, like, just in our space, in the tech space, and I couldn't get them to agree. I remember when I sent an email out to a lot of people, like creators, said, man, we should band together, form our own advertising, jointly approach marketers saying, hey, we're in the tech space. Let's see what the best rates are. But everyone still wants to do their own thing. And I totally get it. But the problem we have is when you look at Twitch, when you look at Twitter, what they're doing, and then you look at what YouTube's doing, they say they split 70-30 with us. When I look at my views, there's no freaking way they're giving us 30% of the revenue on the views that come to our channel. And we saw it happen in November. I think in November of last year, our revenue was, I'll just say the number, we were around $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
It's 20% of that now. And we don't rely on that, but it's like it went down for no reason. Our views are still kind of the same. I mean, so it just didn't make any sense why they do it. And I don't see how. I think what you're seeing with Reddit, where they're just literally blacking out the channel and saying we're taking our Reddits private. If you're going to get $20 million from Apollo, hey, where's the love here? We're making this stuff for free. We are the platform. And I think that they're going to have to play creators. I don't know if there's a creator union coming out of this. We need a SAG strike. Is that what we need? I mean, I don't know, but like
a writer's
something.
Strike.
So because really YouTube isn't anything without creators like us.
Well, none of them are, right? None of them are. YouTube isn't, Twitch isn't, Twitter isn't. Without the user-generated content, there's nothing. Reddit isn't, which is the big pushback against Reddit, right? That's the big deal. It's like, hold on, you want to sell the information that I've put on that platform, and you're going to take 20 million from this guy who's got this third-party thing here, yet you're giving none of that back to me.
Right.
Like, some of that has to go back to the creator. And that was kind of my original point is, are these platforms that are social media where they don't pay creators, are those just going to die? Seemingly between Reddit, between Twitter, between Twitch, they're fading.
Well, I think too, the way they've pushed this out, and it's their own doing, is they've pitched out, hey, you can make a living on YouTube. And everyone I talk to that are age of 30 wants to be a YouTuber. They want to be a creator and they want to do these things.
All the kids want to be YouTubers.
Yeah. And I've had lots of mom and dads come to me and say, hey, how does my son do this? And I give them my best advice I can. But I tell them, like, it's a long, hard road. You got to be able to do it. But in general, what YouTube isn't telling you is, number one, if they don't like you, they'll just ban you. And if you've put 10,000 hours into a channel and you're making a living and they ban you for whatever reason, you have no recourse, you have no rights, you have nothing whatsoever. And I feel like there should be at least a creator rights at the US government level at this point. If it's going to be a job, which it is for a lot of people,
definitely,
you just can't ban me because you didn't like what I said, or you just decided to ban me for whatever reason. Our conspiracy about Kevin's ban is that the football player wants the actual @Kevin Doyle. So like Elon
He has
banned
asked
him.
me for it.
So like
that's right.
he's
We've
more
talked
famous,
about that.
and and they're treating Kevin like a squatter, I guess. So they'll just say,
Right, like I'm not a real person.
you haven't logged in 60 days, so you just forfeit your domain. Like I can't log in because you won't let me. Oh well,
They're telling me I spammed something. That's yeah.
So
you spammed, therefore you haven't logged in, therefore we need to give your name away. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
our original Code Around channel was cut off. I mean, several years ago, where it was just cut off. They said we did something wrong. We don't know what we did. We lost all the videos we uploaded, all of the traffic, and we had to start over with a new channel.
We could never talk to a human. Nobody would ever answer us back. Right. They just cut it off, and that was it. There was zero recourse.
Yeah, there's that, and that's the issue with relying on these platforms. That's why whenever someone says I want to be creator like a YouTube, and they're automatically jumping, I want to be popular on TikTok, or I want to be I'm like, listen, all those are just platforms. Like, go to school and develop like good writing ability. Learn how to do skits. Right. Learn how to edit videos. Like, make that your profession. Still go to school, and you could still do your YouTube things and do other thing. But after but if YouTube doesn't work, there's so many different platforms you could go and apply your skill to. But yeah, it's wild. Just if something happens, Kevin, and that football player happens to get your Twitter name, I'm not saying there's going to be a bot that's going to troll their account, but I'm just saying.
But I'm not saying it.
A cyberpunk
not
bot.
Me. Like, I don't know enough about doing it, how to build it. But if something happens,
I would welcome that.
Well, on the other side of it, like, I think there's so much social media bloat out there. Like, there's so many new platforms coming out all the time that they do have to like incentivize creators to come to their platform. I saw just like a few months ago, all these people talking about Lemonade because they were getting paid to talk about Lemonade, and like they were paying creators to come over and like create content over there. And I think it's a way to kind of get these like really popular people invested in the new hot platform, and then go from there. So like with Instagram, when they really wanted to push Reels, they were giving people Reels bonuses. But now that like they're kind of walking that back, they're like, yeah, Reels bonuses have gone away. So like I made like, $30 with Reels bonuses.
Right. But get it while you can. That's 100%.
Right. So I mean, I can see the advantage for these social media companies to like, if they want to push the new hot thing, they're going to like pay people to do it. But that, like, as you guys were saying, don't rely on that income because it'll go away in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I just don't like the fact that they can just arbitrarily just cut you off, and people should be wary of investing. You got to have 4 or 5 platforms that you're going to push things out to. And that's, we learned from Twitter. We're going to expand to T2, Blue Sky. We're going to try to do them all. We'll probably be on Facebook now. We have a Facebook account. We haven't pushed there. But if they're going to give us some ad revenue,
take it.
We'll take it. We'll stick some videos over there and see what happens, But if they're not, I don't know if our audience is over there on Facebook. Maybe it will be. But I do think that, I think it's called Facebook internally. It's called Project 92, where they're making a Twitter clone.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of cool. I feel like Twitter's ripe to be like kicked off the mountaintop here, of social media platforms. So we'll see what happens. But every day I wonder if YouTube is just going to decide to ban us again one day. And we do actually rely on it.
Yeah.
We don't rely on the revenue, but I will say that we do rely on it for people coming to our school, which is important to us. Right. And that's why I'm thinking about like, what are our other ways that we can market to people?
Yeah.
Well, even Discord just announced like this week too, some creator incentives as well. So like everyone's kind of getting in the game.
Yeah, I think that's the new thing, right? The new thing is if you want to be a creator on a platform, the platform has to be willing to share revenue with you.
I think so.
Because the ones that don't are going to kind of die, I think. They're going to go away. Yeah. I'm surprised that Reddit hasn't come out and said, yeah, we're going to do some kind of revenue share now they're doing this paid thing. I'm surprised they haven't, but they just seem to be digging their heels in on this like, no, it's our way or no way. Well, it could end up no way.
Yeah.
It could be.
I think
they're
the
digging in hard.
CEO of that company doesn't know their community and demographic.
No, he does himself no favors, does he?
I don't understand why he doesn't just buy Apollo and be done with it.
Right.
It's his hardcore user base too. Like they're literally annoying their star users.
Yeah,
like that's the other thing
yeah.
too. They're not just the random people who they don't care about. These are your power users.
It's the big subs. It's like /music and
Right.
/technology. Like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
big ones.
I don't know if you heard, there's a competitor to Twitch called Kick.com, and they have so much money to burn because they are owned by like this huge crypto gambling casino, and they pay tons of money to their creators. And so if you wanted to make a bunch
what's
of
that
money, you could
URL?
go kick.com. Kick.
Like, is it just KICK?
Yeah,
Like,
yep, kick.com.
how'd they get that URL?
And you could,
Did they have $1 million? That's
Stream that. They have billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And so XQC, who's on that platform, he makes millions. I mean, of course, he's like a huge creator, but they got money to burn, and they're definitely having a lot of people going from Twitch onto this platform. So
interesting.
It's all like game streaming, which is still fascinating to me that's the thing that won out on streaming platforms.
yeah,
But people like watching people play video games. I wish
Which
people
I-
liked me watching.
I know, which I don't get. Like, I even like my kids. I'm like, why don't you just play the game instead of watching somebody else play the game?
yeah.
I don't get it. But you know what? I had a mind shift on that. It's like when I was a kid, I watched MTV. Like,
Mhm.
why would you watch music instead of just like listening to music? And so I kind of get that from that perspective. Like, oh yeah, I watched really dumb stuff as a kid too.
Like Twitch is based, well, they bought by Amazon, and they're under the hood using the Amazon services. And so these guys are using Amazon services. So Amazon is winning regardless. They don't like that's so if Twitch doesn't do well, they don't care as long as there's somebody's using their services for their streaming stuff.
But I wonder though, they must not like this then. If this runs on Amazon services, Amazon must not like this because they've tied Twitch to Prime and all kinds of stuff. Like it's very Amazon heavy.
I don't think like Amazon, to be honest, cares, because as long as like if this site gets more traffic than Twitch,
I guess. Yeah.
they're gonna make more money off this site. They might not promote it or tie it with their company, but they're still gonna welcome the revenue. You know what I mean? But yeah,
I
we'll
guess
see
you
what
might as
happens.
well. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
but it's
weird.
good that Twitch has a competitor that
You can
has
watch people
potential
play,
to.
You can watch people play slots on this.
Yeah,
thing?
because it is.
Just-
Like,
hit me
if-
with that Destiny
So
stream.
here's
Destiny
like
stream.
if you want to sell your soul, what you do is you sign up for kick.com. This is how you make $1 million. And you
It looks
literally
exactly
just
like
spend
Twitch.
It does.
all day playing their casino gambling games. You might get sponsored by whatever casino owns the site. Will they give you free money to play with? And you just stream yourself playing games and showing people how much you win. And there you go. That's the winning formula. And that's what a lot of these
Wow.
like people are doing. Like, is they're literally playing these crypto casino games. But you could stream regular stuff on here as well. But this company has a lot of money to give away. It's
That's
a
crazy.
$1 billion company.
Is
Like,
anyone
it's-
coding on Kick right now, Kevin? Let's do that. Is anyone coding?
I don't know.
Live
Oh
coding.
yeah, live coding.
Because we know that's hot content. You know,
Yeah.
It just comes up with the user when I do code.
2 followers. Great.
Quite
Yeah.
sure.
With the like full just like coding handle.
yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't
Like if
seem
anyone's gonna
like it.
follow a coding account, it would be coding.
No, it doesn't seem like it. There's I guess software and game design. Yeah, there is 18 viewers. So yeah, there are people on here doing it, but nothing. Nobody's got a lot of views. So
Let's do it,
day
man.
job.
Yeah, come on, guys, get on there.
Okay, let's talk about our next story here. Then let's talk about this. Our Skynet Watch section for this week. ChatGPT in the car. If you have a Mercedes, so Mercedes is testing ChatGPT in their cars. So starting from June 16th. So as we're here now talking, this is actually live. If you have opted in to the beta and you have a Mercedes-Benz that runs the MBUX infotainment system, which I think is most modern Mercedes. The one that I had before my car now had this, and I wish I still had it. I traded that in for the VW, and I wish I still had it because I really want to play with this. But it's basically open up to about 900,000 Mercedes cars in the US. So if you opt to the beta, if you have one, chances are you can probably mess with this right now. So what they say this does is this is their official quote. It says it allows you to ask for details about your destination, to suggest a new dinner recipe, right? Or to answer a complex question. And I have no idea what a complex question is, but apparently a complex question. All while keeping your hands on the wheel and eyes on the road. So on the technical side of this is powered by Microsoft. It's actually on Azure. It's on Azure Cloud. So that's interesting from a technical side of things. And they say that drivers won't have to remember specific phrases or to activate certain functions. So, Sarah, I'll come to you first on this one. Is this a good place to put AI? Is this a good use of AI or not? What are your thoughts on that? And would you trust an AI chatbot in your car?
Well, that's exactly where I was going to segue into first. We all know that ChatGPT can lie and hallucinate. Is it going to hallucinate a destination for me?
100%.
Yeah, like, hey, I want to have some tacos. And they're like, oh, we've got this really great taco restaurant. And I'm ending up in like some parking lot somewhere.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't trust it with any information just because I already know that it hallucinates and lies. So what kind of information? I'm not going to go somewhere based on its recommendations for sure. The other thing, like contemplating the world's life or something, is that what complex questions is all about?
I have no idea.
What is the meaning of life? You know, what is
Well, exactly. Is that what you're supposed to ask your Mercedes information
42.
system? Like, exactly. What is the meaning of life? Like, if it doesn't answer 42, it's wrong, right? So,
yeah, it's like, what is the point of that? Like, am I like really posing philosophical questions in my car that I like need the answers to right away while I'm driving? Like, I just don't see the point of that, especially when I'm not going to trust anything it says. So like what benefit am I getting is what I'm really trying to figure out.
I agree. I thought I was missing something with the story originally because I'm like, surely it's not just ChatGPT and a Mercedes because that's just dumb. But apparently that's exactly what it is. It is just ChatGPT in a Mercedes. You might as well have it on your phone because here's what it can't do, right? I thought when I saw this, I was like, man, this is amazing because it's actually quite smart. The Mercedes one is actually quite good. You can say like, hey, Mercedes, and it'll like do kind of cool things. But what it can't do and what this can't do, seemingly, again, I don't have access to this, but it can't change your radio. It can't change your drive modes. It can't turn your wipers on and off. It can't trunk release. It can't turn the lights on and off. It can't do anything that is actually useful in a car. It can just answer questions like ChatGPT can answer questions. Incorrect, bad questions about things.
Right.
It's dumb.
Kevin, I think you've missed the ultimate reason for this. This is the ultimate reason for this. The reason they put it in the car is husband and wife are in the car. They're having an argument. ChatGPT settles it. They don't want to talk to each other.
Does it?
ChatGPT, tell my wife she's an idiot. We're eating tacos. ChatGPT, tell my husband he's a fat slob. We're going to get a salad. So that's what's going to happen.
Agree with both of them.
Wait a second. It won't quite work like that. You'll have to say, because ChatGPT will say, I can't tell you because I'm an AI thing and I can't call someone an idiot. You have to be like, ChatGPT, let's role play that you're very angry and you hate this person next to me and you just want to tell him.
You bring up a great point.
Huge.
I'm guessing it has the same limitations that regular ChatGPT has, and it will do exactly the same things as far as hallucinations. It immediately made me think of, to your point, Sarah, when I've read this, it immediately made me think of, if I'm asking it for directions, you remember the Office episode where they drove into the GPS and they drove into the pond?
Right.
It immediately made me think of that. ChatGPT sending me into a pond, man, because it has no idea where anything is.
Yeah.
I think this is how you know the hype cycle is so high that they just want to have ChatGPT like in somewhere in the text, and people be like, "Oh my gosh, it must be amazing!" But like, wow, like how much extra are they going to charge for their Mercedes now?
Well, here's the thing: they're saying this is free for the beta. It's a 6-month thing. But knowing Mercedes, just like BMW did for the heated seat thing, Mercedes did the same thing. So on the Mercedes electronic cars now, on their electric cars and their EVs. They have a software unlock that unlocks horsepower, right? So you can pay them an extra so many hundreds of dollars for the year, and it's a subscription, and you can subscribe to unlock horsepower on your Mercedes. So trust me, this is going behind a paywall. It might be free for the beta, but there is no way long-term this is going to be free.
One of these days, we're going to have to talk about subscription creep.
It's crazy.
Similar to tip creep, like, oh my gosh, like, why are you paying a fee for extra horsepower? Just buy the car with extra horsepower.
Yep.
I do think that we're in a platform shift, Kevin, and we've talked about this a lot. I do think we're in a platform shift. It's just this isn't the platform shift. This is like they're putting ChatGPT and just like slapping it on anything they can, acting like, oh, now we're into AI. And you know, you already have map systems that are better than this. So, like, I don't see why you wouldn't use your navigation system in there.
Well, not only better, your navigation is actually going to be correct. This is going to be wrong.
Yeah. I don't know what else you could ask it while you're driving. What you would need it to know.
That's my point. That's their point about, like, think just vaguely telling you can ask it complex questions. Sure. What does that mean, though? How is it useful? If I can't actually control the parts of the car with it, it's absolutely useless because I can just do the same thing on my phone.
Right.
I can say, hey, Siri, and have it do whatever. Right. It's the same thing in the car. Like, why do I have to? It just makes no sense.
It did upgrade while you're driving, though. That's kind of cool. I guess they're using the hotspot on the phone. Or there's a hotspot in the car.
There's a hotspot in the car.
Okay.
Yeah, hotspot in the car.
I'm sure you're paying for that too, right?
You are. It's not cheap.
Yeah, yep. 5G in the car.
It is not cheap.
To me, it's just a lazy implementation. Like they didn't put any effort into thinking of cool ways of using it. You know,
Agreed.
They could have had like a ChatGPT powered like Mercedes-Benz assistant with like some cool exotic name and have a persona, and it's like that would have been way more interesting. You know, like speak with like a really proper British accent. You know.
Gotcha.
Not like mine.
Like you know, like the royalty, and every time you kind of bring your nose down too low, it keeps telling you to raise your head and nose up higher than everybody else driving next to you. Like it keeps reminding you of your proper posture because you know Mercedes-Benz. Like that would have been like a way better use case. And then like when you would stop in traffic, it would automatically just talk to cars next to you of how they're not in a Mercedes and how you're better than them. Like, I mean, come on, they're so boring with like this implementation.
So snooty queen, is that what you want?
Yeah, snooty queen. Oh my
I'm gonna
God.
get potty humor for just a second. Like it's gonna say, "Hey, I detected that you farted. Would you like to sniff that?"
Exactly. So I'm building a chatbot, and I wanted to like help me come up with like cool like business SaaS ideas that it could guide me through like building. But then I wanted to have an attitude and be like really snarky. So you know, I'm like make it fun. And to me, this is boring what they're doing. Come on.
Yep. Agreed. Okay, let's move on to our next topic here. Then you'd be shocked and surprised to find out that the U.S. government is buying your data. So, a newly declassified government report confirmed U.S. intelligence and spy agencies purchased vast amounts of commercial available information on Americans, including data from connected vehicles, web browsing, and smartphones. Shocking, right? So this
Uncle Phoebe, that is brand new information.
Yeah, shocking. So this kind of data is generated from anything connected to the internet, basically. Phones, cars, your refrigerator, whatever. They basically hoover up all this stuff. Under the guise of it being kind of anonymous, but it's definitely not anonymous. In the past, the government's actually the IRS has used this. They bought access to databases that have tracked people down for tax cheats and tax fraud. Homeland Security have used it for immigration enforcement, apparently. So basically, if the US can buy this is open to everybody. This is not like a thing you can go to like a data broker and you can buy this information. So if the US is buying it, you know, everybody's buying it. So I thought of that. This is kind of hypothetical. Let's say if we believed that Facebook doesn't listen on our phones, right? Because they've said they don't, right? So let's believe that for a second, that they don't listen to our phones. Let's say that Instagram isn't listening to our phones and not serving as ads based on what we've said, even though that's crap, because they do. But they've said that they don't, right? They constantly say they don't. They say they have a matrix of kind of information about the person, and they can target this thing based on kind of like all this information so it makes this information like super, super valuable. So they basically say that they know what you want before you know that you want it, right? Which makes me worried about some of the ads that I see. I think I'm like, I don't know why I'm seeing that ad, but apparently Facebook thinks I need to see that ad. So it's kind of weird.
What does that say about me?
I know exactly. I'm like, I'm not going to say what ads I see because I'm like, you know, I guess maybe it says too much about me. I don't know. But let's say that's the case. It makes this data super, super valuable. It makes it so that they actually can pinpoint it down to a person. So, Bobby, let me ask you, are you concerned about this kind of data being out there, available for purchase, seemingly by anyone? And is there anything we should do and can we do to stop it?
So this is one of the things that does concern me. I think we live in a surveillance state, and unfortunately, all the corporations are part of it. And so, like, when you look at whatever you think about January 6th or whatever, how they found those guys was they suck up every location data for every cell phone. They map that to people, and then they could find out every single person who was there. And then that's how they figure out, that's how they did all those arrests that quickly. I watched a movie where people had bought the same data. And it was a documentary about this data, and they bought the same data, and they tracked all the phones at a McDonald's where there was a shooting, and they identified 8 suspects based on the phone data, sent it to the police, and the police solved the murder. So
wow,
it's super powerful. And so what we don't want is the government to be able to find you all the time, like wherever you are, whatever you buy or whatever. And then when the IRS is going to use it to increase taxes, I don't like that either. This makes you want to run for Congress and say flat tax, and just that way you don't have to tell me what to do. But without getting too political about it, it's just that I don't think it's ever good for the government to know your every move, your every purchase, and everything you do. And we can look at China, and we can look at all these other surveillance states. We live in one. Unfortunately, it's just that Twitter, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, Verizon, AT&T, all of them are just sending feeds to the government at this point. That's what they're doing. They're directly integrated. It's really
apparently
quick
they're also just buying it from these third-party brokers as well.
Yeah.
That's what this was. This was a disclosure that hey, we're buying this data from a third-party broker that anybody can buy. This is not just like a different deal with AT&T. This is like some third party that will literally sell it to anybody.
Well, Verizon's selling it. So
No,
they shouldn't be able to do that. So I think what should happen at the government level, and I'd be interested in what you guys think, is that there should be a personal data firewall that everyone has. And then you subscribe to ads if you want to see them, and you subscribe. But I think it's too late for that. I think it's out in the wild. But like, if someone could invent that, that'd be great. I mean, you can see how desperate the government gets. Someone does something bad and they get the iPhone. I remember the story, and the government's like, calling Tim Cook at his house, like, unlock this phone. And he's like, no, bro, I'm not unlocking the phone. They did bad things. I know, but like, and I think we need more of that from our corporations, that we should be private, and the government should have to jump through more hoops to find you. So that's just kind of what I think. It is scary that we live in a surveillance state like this.
There's a great movie made in 2017, which it's actually stupid. It's called The Circle with Tom Hanks
I saw that.
and Emma Watson. The funny part about it, the whole premise of the movie is how they created this tiny camera that you could put everywhere, and they know everything about you, and they're using it to kind of show you how it's very bad and it's going to lead to this deep state, whatever. But the ending blew me away, where you thought it's like, oh no, they're going to find the bad guy and they're going to go back. It's like, no, they found the bad guy, movie ends, but all the technological surveillance equipment kind of stays there. It doesn't go anywhere. I'm like, are they preparing us for this concept of this is exactly what's going to happen? And so it's like watching a movie that goes to the dystopian, like deep state surveillance, and their happy ending is like, oh, we're going to keep that. That's the ending. We're going to keep it. Everybody's going to know everything about you. And I was so upset after I watched it, because I was like, listen, this is what, that's like propaganda movie. I'm just hypothetically,
Yeah, I mean, this is Apple in this, by the way. We all like this.
It's Apple.
This is Apple. This is
Facebook.
He's Steve Jobs, but it's the building is a circle. Like, it's Apple. Like, it's like this is Apple in this thing.
But at the end of the day, it's nothing changed except the bad guy is no longer in the control. So like somebody else is in the control. It's
Emma Watson becomes the bad guy.
Yeah, so exactly. It's like there's nothing changed. I could have like not watched the movie. It's like unbelievable. But I feel like that's where technology will take us. It's going to be impossible to have privacy because everything everywhere. And the messed up part that reminded me of this movie, I don't know where, I saw an ad for these tiny cameras that look similar to this one that have magnets, and you could put them anywhere and hide them.
I saw that.
And
Yeah, I
I'm
saw
like,
that ad.
you know,
We're almost there.
I'm going to start buying them and putting them all over my neighborhood, connected to my Raspberry Pi, and be like, listen, nobody said I couldn't do that. Hypothetically, I'm not going to do that. Just in case you find one, I'll try to trace it back. It's not mine.
They'll know you did it based on
Yeah.
this data pool. It's fine. They'll know you were there at that time. You did it. You're on camera. Somebody else's
Right.
camera. You'll be in trouble. There's no
Exactly.
getting out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do hope someone challenges the government's ability to buy this data. So they're not supposed to surveil Americans. That's not what they're supposed to do. The CIA is supposed to operate external to the country. We know they operate internally, and they shouldn't be able to buy this data, but they do. And they're saying, they're getting around it, saying, well, it's publicly available. Well, no, that's not what we said. We didn't say how available it was. We're saying you shouldn't be able to buy it and use it, but they're doing it. And like, it's just disturbing that Verizon shouldn't be able to sell this data. They shouldn't be allowed to do it, but they do. You should have privacy when you sign up for your cell phone service, you would think. And under a court order, they could get it, but not just like where they just dump it on out on their Dropbox somewhere, and you can just download all the cell phone data from it.
Well, as we mentioned a couple weeks ago, too, the big problem that the government has with TikTok is basically who owns the data of its users, and that they don't have control over that data. And so this is like, clearly that is the reason that they have such a big problem with TikTok, is because like, oh, we can't buy this data. We can't get access to this data. So we're just going to ban it. But here's all these companies that'll give it to us. So we like them.
And trust me, don't think that China isn't buying this.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're
I mean,
buying it.
anybody can.
This is an open market. Everybody's buying it. Like, why wouldn't
Yeah.
you want the information on the users in that country? Because then you can target whatever you want towards them. We saw it with political campaigns years back. It's like, we've come on way from then.
So I got another idea for an amazing SaaS product that I'm going to build. Since they're spying on your information,
keeps giving away all
what
his
I'm going
info.
to do, all my secrets, if someone builds it before me, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
But I'm going to create a bot that is going to be trained on whatever like stuff I tell it to, and it will automatically public fake news about me and like misinformation. So I'll have a bot that will just generate misinformation campaign. It's like, here's Paul in Disney World where he was helping, like whatever, all fake. It'll be on Twitter, Google, like, so whatever information they collect, it's just going to be, they'll have to filter through all this nonsense.
I like
and they
that
won't know
idea.
who the real is. Yeah.
I like that idea. That does actually solve a problem, because there really is a genuine problem here. And the problem is you can either go dark, right? Because you could go off grid, right? And not use any technology and do that stuff. But that's not the answer, right? But like muddying the waters is probably the answer.
Not go dark, go wide, loud and wide.
Phones.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a service.
Yeah.
$9.99.
I think
to
that's a
any
service,
new
Paul.
subscriber.
I do. I think that's a service.
starting
Make
the
yourself
waiting
kind of
list.
untrackable by being loud and wide, like what we said. Yeah, I like that.
I like it. That's one of the first ideas that I might go build, Paul.
Listen, you could build it, and I'll just take 1% of like the revenue you make.
I mean,
it's fine. I'm
small
not greedy.
Still be a
royalties,
millionaire.
right?
So yes, exactly, small royalties.
So, Kevin, a question for you, Mr. UK. Do you think something like GDPR mitigates some of this? Or like, I'm just curious.
No, it's worse there than it is here.
Interesting.
It really is. The surveillance state in the UK is way worse than it is in the US. There's a physical surveillance state in the UK as well. Cameras there are literally everywhere. Every time I go back, I feel like there's more and more and more cameras in places. If you're in a public space, you are on camera, guaranteed. There is no question. It has almost full coverage at this point. Even in little places, I'm from a village that's now technically a town, but it's like there's surveillance cameras. Like, it's nuts that there are so many. And yeah, I think it's worse there than it is here. If anything, they have it maybe a little bit better because of like the EU is more like heavy on this kind of stuff. They really are. But UK is not part of the EU anymore. So it's like some of that stuff's gone out of the window. So a bunch of those rules are like out of the window now. So yeah, I
think it's funny that people think that you want privacy because they'll make it assume you want to commit crimes.
Right.
And the problem in the surveillance state is that when the government gets this much power, they start inventing crimes for people. And you suddenly, if they can say, I'll show you the person, show me the person, I'll show you the crime they committed. And I just don't like that. I mean, I don't, just because I may have gone over the speed limit yesterday, I don't think they should be able to write me a ticket for it unless they catch me doing it, and that's saying, well, you're trying to avoid crime. But
right.
There's a lot of things that we do every single day that aren't technically crimes, but they could use it to blackmail you or do whatever, imagine you're on a diet or something like that. You told your wife that I'm going to diet. I'm going to lose weight, honey. And then suddenly someone emails them that cookout receipt for that chocolate milkshake you had at lunch. It's not fair, man. Come on, bro. Come on.
I know.
Guy code. Come on.
Seriously, that would be scary because I have this friend I talk to. I'm trying to lose weight, and sometimes I just move in the wrong direction. And he's like, "Seriously, Paul, tell me what you eat." So I lie and tell him, and he's like, "This doesn't make sense. You should be losing weight." But then if there's that tech proof because he could collect my data, then it's like I'll be in trouble,
Yeah.
Don't lie to me, Paul. I know. I got it right here. Look.
Yeah. You didn't eat watermelon. You had ice cream. What are you talking about? It's watermelon.
Okay, let's move on to our last story then. This is a story about Amazon shutting a user out of their Amazon-powered smart home devices over a seeming misunderstanding. So kind of a sensitive topic. An Amazon user called Brandon Jackson, he's been a customer of Amazon for a while, apparently has a bunch of Amazon devices, Amazon Echoes, Ring doorbell. I don't know what else, they didn't work specific, but I'm guessing, he has a smart home. Typical smart home these days with a bunch of smart stuff. And he's in the Amazon ecosystem. He did say he has some other devices too. This wasn't a giant inconvenience because he does have some other stuff that runs locally as well, but he uses Amazon stuff, right? So he's put his eggs in the Amazon smart home basket. So one day he found out that he was logged out of his Echo devices. So he has to get in contact with Amazon. He basically calls up Amazon, speak to a customer service rep. And he was told from the customer service rep, and I quote, "The driver who delivered your package yesterday reported receiving racist remarks from your Ring doorbell. And so we have cut you off. We have basically logged you out of your devices. You are done. Thank you very much." So Brandon went back, reviewed the footage because he's like, well, that wasn't me, so let me go see what happened. Let me figure it out, what's going on here. He went back, reviewed his footage. He then confirmed, because he has the video, right? It's on Ring. It recorded it. So he was able to go back, and apparently it's confirmed no such comments were made, and it turned out to be a misinterpreted version of "excuse me, can I help you?" And then on the camera, the delivery driver's walking away with headphones on, and seems to have misheard what he thought the doorbell said. He thought it was a racist comment of some kind. But Amazon took it upon themselves to lock him out. He was locked out for nearly a week, apparently, while they fixed this thing, which still not as bad as my current Twitter lockout, by the way, 9 days today. But I'm not
we'll keep harping on that.
Yeah, I'm going to keep mentioning it as much as I can because screw Twitter. But yeah, he was locked out for nearly a week. So for this, Sarah, let me come to you. I know you have smart home devices there. Does this worry you that you can get locked out by your provider of choice, a mega corporation like Amazon, based on what appears to be a simple misunderstanding?
Yeah, especially because there was no checks and balances with this. It seems like, okay, somebody heard a racist mark. Okay, what time was that at? Let's go look at the footage and see what happened. They're just taking somebody's word for it and locking you out that, and I'm a woman, and there's the whole believe all women. I don't believe in that. It's not beneficial to anybody to just take somebody's word for it. That's why we have a court system. That's why we have a jury system to help us determine what is true and what is false. And just to take somebody's word for it and lock somebody out of their complete home. I mean, granted, he didn't lock out of his home,
but he could have been locked out.
Right?
If he had a smart, he could have been locked out. If he had a smart lock, they could have locked him out of the house.
Right. Yes. And so that part alone, when it's a complete misunderstanding and it's not even something he said, is very worrisome. But aside from that, and I'm not pushing racist ideology for sure, but we also have freedom of speech here. So even though I'm saying something that could be offensive and it's not something I would say personally, but to not misinterpret that, but to not be able to say something like that in your own home, I think that is also really setting a bad precedent in, what we consider the land of the free, where, I love free speech. Like, I'm a huge kind of government nerd a little bit. And I think that, if somebody's saying something that is completely offensive to me, that I would never want to hear from somebody else, I still respect their right to say it, because this is a free country and they can say that. I can react however I want to react. I can walk away or whatever, but I own my reaction and I can't control what they say or do.
The other thing that I find disturbing is like Amazon's the one deciding what free speech is.
Yeah.
And that's a role for somebody else in the government, and like, short of him threatening the driver with a gun or dogs or tackling him in the front
something
yard,
illegal is
something
my
illegal
thoughts on it. Yeah.
Maybe you can shut them down at that point. But it seems like the simpler solution was call the police, get the guy out there. And just because he said, and I'll say it, he said something horrible to this person, it could be mean things, could be racist things or whatever. I still think if you bought the devices and it controls your house, Amazon has a duty to deliver that service to the best of their ability, and they just can't turn it off when they feel like it because you said something they don't like,
right.
Which is essentially what they did. Now, what you can do, they could have easily said, hey, you know what? We're not going to deliver to your house anymore because you're mean. You're get off my lawn guy. You're mean. So you can't come to the house. But, we're not going to or give them a 30-day notice that, hey, no longer can you use
right.
Amazon products or services, find a new lock, find a new speaker, find a new whatever. But just to cut them off without even looking at it, it just gives these companies too much power when we integrate all this stuff in there. And I'm wondering if there's going to be a backlash where we just say, you know what, I'm just getting a flip phone. Screw it. I mean, I'm going to drive everywhere to get stuff, and I'm just not going to automate anymore.
They should countersuit, to be honest, because this is ridiculous. Like I said, Amazon, their job not to tell you how to think, their job is to deliver services to your home. Like, let's say he had an aunt who was diabetic and they were delivering insulin. And this was this misunderstanding. And they're like, oh, no, we're not going to deliver. And so she doesn't get her insulin medication and she dies because of that. It's that's ridiculous. And I totally agree. There's one thing, okay, this is our service. This is what we do. You might not be happy because someone said something stupid to you, but it's still your job. You're getting paid to deliver item A to house B or whatever it is. And that's what you're responsible for. You're not responsible to tell me how to be and how to live. My family will bring me up to the best abilities, not like some corporation. You know what I mean? And to me, that's wild. I remember growing up when I first moved here from another country, just walking down the street and some guy from Ireland, and I'm not being racist, he happened to be from Ireland, and he literally goes, go back to your own country. I'm like, bro, you're from Ireland, first of all, and you're telling me to go back to my country. But he was like in the 90s, so I get it. He just anybody, whatever. And so I'm like, you know what, you're entitled to your opinion, and we lived in the same apartment building. I'm like, I'm not gonna it's offensive, but just like I have the right to say something to you, you have the right to speak your opinion. I don't have to agree as long as you're not causing me harm in any way. And I feel like a lot of people, they're trying to eliminate this ability of people having free speech to a point where there's not going to be any contrast. The reason I know why something is good, because I know what bad is, and vice versa. And you need to have that context. And this idea of hey, if we don't agree with your point of view, we're able to turn off your services. Then it becomes very dystopian and very dictatorial, because who gets to decide what's right and what's wrong?
Apparently, some random middle manager in Amazon gets to
Yeah, well, here's the deal, right? I think right now that the precedence has been set that private companies can have whoever they want as a customer, right? The precedence was set with the legal thing with the cake baking for the gay wedding story, right? That set the precedence, that set the legality for this. A company can decide not to sell the cake to the gay couple, therefore it applies here too. But the issue is, because Amazon is deciding, hey, I don't want to do business with this person. The difference is that Amazon is almost at utility status.
They are.
Because your local because those same rules don't apply to your electricity company, right? The electricity company can't say, I'm not going to supply power to the Nazis who live at house number 5 down the road, right? They can't do that. It's a utility. They have to provide it. As whatever you think about that, it doesn't matter. They have to provide it because it's a utility. Amazon almost falls into that category. Smart home stuff definitely does. If you've decided and you've adopted it already, and after the fact they've decided you don't want you as a customer, that's a problem. That is the fact that you couldn't get into your house. Like Paul said, they decided not to deliver your medications because they do deliver medications now. They cut you off. That's a problem. I think they need to be treated differently.
Here's the crazy part about Amazon. So I used to have a different phone number, and Amazon has this thing where you could do 2-factor authentication via having a phone number on file. And so I changed my number, but I never changed it. I just forgot on Amazon. And when I tried to log in, it's like, oh, you need to do 2-factor authentication. And the phone number they kept sending the PIN to is my old number, but you can't change your number. And then when you go and call customer support, they literally put you through this gauntlet where they're like, you need to send us your passport. You need to send us this. Wow. It's ridiculous. And so I just never used that account. I opened a new one, and I was just like, and I don't give them my number now because I'm like, screw that. You know, like if it's not mandatory, I'm not going to give it to them. Just use my email. And that to me is like, it's not a two-way street in terms of like, you know, the rights that they have versus like the rights that they give you. It's like they want to take as much space as possible and leave you without too much options. But at the same time, I feel like, you know, counterbalance of that, there's a lot of law firms that love doing lawsuits with big companies. And granted, you yourself probably not going to get any money, a lawyer's going to make, but you know, it's but the fact that we still have that system of some like, and you know, I don't agree with everything, but the fact there is a way and like approach you could take, but the fact that you have to do it in the first place is crazy.
Yeah, you might at least fix it for the rest of us. Right?
Exactly.
And what Paul said made me think of too, what if my grandma lives with me and has dementia and answered the door and really did say a racist comment? You know, I'm not, she's not really in charge of her full capacity. And, you know, that is something that could absolutely happen. And just to take that and say, hey, we're going to cut you off from everything because your crazy grandma said something. That's like super scary.
And to your point earlier, it wouldn't even have to be like a racist remark. It could be anything that offends the person, right?
Exactly.
The driver could have been offended by the fact that you're wearing, I don't know, some kind of clothing or something. He doesn't like that, therefore he's going to report you. Is that the same standard? Where's the line? There shouldn't be a line. There shouldn't be a choice. They either provide it or they don't. It's that simple.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Stranger Things? I'm wearing my Stranger Things t-shirt. And
exactly. I hate Stranger Things. Therefore, I'm going to cut you off.
Cutting you off. You're off the show.
That's it.
But I don't know. I think that either we have free speech or we don't. And I don't like where corporations decide what that speech is because that's not up to them. That's a Supreme Court thing. That's how. But that's been set
though. They can. That's the thing. They can set that. They can decide who they do business with. But I think there's a class of company that moves into utility where, and I'm okay with them being able to decide that. I'm okay with the cake company who didn't want to serve the people, the cake company or some place down the road doesn't want to serve the guy who comes in with the swastika on his forehead. Like, kick him out. I'm okay with that. You don't have to serve him. But when you get to the point of Amazon, it's like so ingrained. It's almost like it is a utility, especially when it comes to things like smart home stuff. I guess you have all the choices, but like, are they going to make the same decisions? Can you go nowhere? I don't know.
I'm going with Apple for smart home stuff.
But like you said, maybe after the fact, like give them a 30-day warning or something.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just cut them off right in the middle.
Yeah. Right. You know, if there's no reasonable, like, instant changeover, you know, with the cake place, there's 38 cake shops in the same town.
Right.
Here, you've got all your crap integrated into Amazon, and it's just suddenly they just cut you off and say, sucks to be you. And you're like, well,
Yep.
wait a second, man. I mean, like, what do I do? Like, where's
It's
my?
not easy to change.
I know
This is-
my groceries are coming tomorrow, right? No.
No, this is ridiculous because, and I don't know why my brain goes there, so I'm sorry in advance. But imagine you bought like a toilet paper dispenser for your toilet, like, and you're doing your thing, and Amazon just decides to cut you off, and now you can't dispense any toilet paper. So you're like sitting there contemplating, like, what do you do? And so I feel like we're putting too much trust into these companies that encroach our rights inside our house. So I will never get like a smart lock that has a potential to be turned off. Like my house will always have manual door because like I've heard horror stories, people that have smart locks that you open with the phone, sometimes it just don't work. Right. And if you're like coming home late at night, it's like, what do you do? It's like, who do you call? You know?
Yep.
So for me, I'm like, certain things I just don't trust the companies.
I have a smart lock, but it also has a keyhole. So like I also
that's smart.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to get a dual function.
I have one too that does the same thing.
Let me ask you a question, Sarah. You have a smart lock. Do you carry your key, or you have your?
I
key
do.
in
I
your
do.
house?
Like it's on. Like I don't really care. I have a purse. I'm a girl. So like my keys stay in my purse at all times because, you know, my car door will automatically unlock when I approach it. So I'm never getting my keys out of the purse, but it's on that key ring with the rest of my keys.
I have a smart lock and I don't have a key.
Exactly. That's where I would be.
Yeah, and I don't have a key, but I do have a number pad.
Okay.
So if like my phone doesn't unlock it, I can at least put a code in. And plus, the same with the garage too. So I have garage door opening the car, obviously, which is no way we normally come into the house. I don't usually use the smart lock. I usually just use the garage door to get in. But that also has a number pad on it as well. So it's like I always made sure that there was like at least 2 ways to get in because I don't want to carry the key. I have I'm minimalist when it comes to like keys and wallet. I have a Ridge wallet, which maybe will be one of my recommendations at some point.
My husband has that too.
Yeah, small as possible, least amount of stuff to carry as possible. Because I don't carry a bag. Like, you know, it's just like I don't want to put a lot of stuff in my pockets. Right. But if guys carry bags these days, you know, they do. But I don't want to. Yeah, the man bag, whatever. Yeah. So, like, you know.
I've got to carry my water bottle somehow, people. Got to carry.
But I don't want to take a key. Like, my keychain is literally, it has 2 things on it. It has my key fob, and it has the key for the mailbox, which is just down the road, which is weird in our neighborhood. But that's it. That's all I have on it. I don't have anything else on it. I don't want to carry another house key. But I've yet to be locked out. We'll see. Okay, let's move on to our last section. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the other point of that is at what point, who really owns our smart homes?
Right.
Because
exactly. You bought it.
Right. Like, do I pay a mortgage? Do I really own anything in my house if Amazon actually owns everything?
And that's what I'm saying. You've already contracted to buy the service, and then they just like rip it out from under you. And it's like, wait a second, what good is this Echo? Are you going to give my money back on the Echo?
Right.
I doubt it.
No.
Well, they're only $20 in the first place. So.
I know, but still, it's the point. You know, it's the point of the thing.
I get it.
Like
the Echo Show is more expensive. You can get a pretty expensive Echo Show.
Yeah, you can.
My Fire Stick is not working anymore. You know, my Amazon Fire TV is gone.
Yeah, how are you going to watch Terminal List?
I wonder if he had those and they cut him out of that too, or they would have done had he had them. I'm guessing they would have done. I'm guessing they signed out all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that his account was located to, it seems like they cut him out of.
Yeah,
man,
crazy. Okay, let's move on to our no not no section then. Our weekly recommendations section. So let's go with Bobby first. What you got?
Okay, this is a weird one. What I've got, I had to really research, but I figured out what I'm doing Friday morning, and I said, okay, this can be both null or not null.
Okay.
Depending on your approach. I think it's a null. I think it's a not null. My family thinks it's a null. Okay. I am going to buy on Friday in the morning. I'm going to get up early to go to this card shop to buy the brand new Magic the Gathering cards and try to get the One Ring card. It's a Lord of the Rings thing. The cost of the pack is $500.
Whoa.
That's what
my
Kelly
husband's
said.
gonna be so jealous.
Whoa.
My husband's gonna be so jealous.
What they're saying is, if you draw the One Ring card, people are saying that they will absolutely pay you $1 million to $2 million for this card. That is a falsity that you're putting on there. This card has not been opened yet. That's a fake card. So anyway, Magic the Gathering booster pack for the Lord of the Rings, and you can have one card. It's a 1-of-1 foil card that you can sell. But here's the thing. I'm going to keep the packs closed. I'm going to keep it in cellophane, And then 6 months from now, I'm just going to sell the pack on eBay, and hopefully I'll make more than $500 on the pack.
Interesting.
So you're banking on actually nobody finding it.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
I'd say that's a
there's
pretty good
millions
bet.
of boxes out there.
This is Willy Wonka style.
Yeah, exactly. It's one card.
This is the last golden ticket.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Well, what's interesting is anything like this, like if you recall the whole Monopoly McDonald's fiasco, where like the winning pieces, they were basically being sold on the black market, or like he was giving them to his friends because he's the only one that knew where the like super special ones were and like took them. So I'm wondering if it's going to be something similar where.
So they pushed a YouTube video out.
Okay.
And it showed them putting this card in a pack because they wanted to make sure that they're not giving it out to a streamer or the known card shop where we know where it's going to end up. So they say could be a conspiracy. Maybe I'm a sucker. And then, that's what everyone else thinks. My wife included thinks I'm a sucker. But like, let's say that I'm just going to sell the pack 6 months from now. Hopefully the one green card hasn't been revealed yet. And someone pays me double for my pack. So I'll come back in 6 months, Now, what I will say I've seen some other people do these cards, and like there is a Pokemon set card that hasn't been found yet, and those packs now are going for $350,000.
Holy.
Wow.
I can't imagine spending $350,000 and then like opening the pack and getting nothing.
I'm just saying for cardboard, if someone offered me, I'm doing it.
I think like the game is to never open it and just keep selling it, and hopefully you will find that one last dummy.
Yeah,
the one last
this is
box.
Like, you know what this is? This is like the Schrodinger's cat thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it's in the box, it's not in the box. Like, does it matter? Because the value it's only worth the money if it's actually in the box. But if you don't open it, do you know it's ever in the box?
Right. And people out there saying, "I'll pay you $2 million if the card's in there." And so then you got to do the idea of like, okay, how much is the box worth? So retail, I'm going to drop $500 on a singular box tomorrow.
I am 1,000% sure somebody's going to figure out how to open that package without and then repackage
take the card out and
take the
resell
card out and sell it, and then like,
Steal
oh look, 2 months later they had another one. That's a conspiracy.
Yeah, that's true.
Whatever.
Wow. Okay, interesting. Okay, I see what you're doing Friday. What you got, Paul?
I've been like on this AI kick, and so I feel like there's so much miscommunication about AI. So there's this guy, Andrew NG, and he has a website, deeplearning.ai. And he also has the #1 taught AI Coursera courses on his website. If you scroll down a little bit, there's the class that I would recommend. Wait, did you click off? Yeah, scroll down here. There's the class. Well, go up a little bit, right there where the 4. AI for everyone. Like everyone should just take that course. Because it's not like you don't have to be technical. It just literally demystifies what AI is, like how people and companies are using it. And it, you could do it free at Coursera or on his YouTube. I don't know if it's on his YouTube channel, but he has a lot of great courses. And so what I realized is that instead of people trying to listen to people on YouTube like me, hyping up AI, I'm not saying that I do, but like there's so much hype. Every video is how ChatGPT is self-aware, how to make $1 million using ChatGPT. Like people should listen to actual experts in the field of AI. And by the way, this class, ChatGPT prompt engineering for developers, really, really good too. But yeah, people should just learn the actual truth about what AI is, so they're a little bit more AI savvy rather than listening to people that are trying to get clicks or sell you something stupid on YouTube. By the way, I have a class, how to make $1 million with AI in 2 weeks. I don't like, you could sign up on my website. I will take your money. I mean, you will learn how to use AI.com. Very good class. Only $9.99.
And my favorite class is the 10 prompts that will make you $1 million tomorrow.
Dude,
Nice.
Yeah,
dude, it's
so scammy. It's the
scammy.
Web3 and the crypto bros trying to jump in on the AI game is what that is.
Exactly. I was like, if I wanted to make money quickly, create a chatbot that generates like cool looking NFTs for you that you could just sell to dum-dums. But I was like, but that's selling your soul, and I don't want to do that. I try to be responsible.
That's
but
so below you, Paul.
but-
So below you.
it's like a little bit. Like like if I just like sneak down just a tiny bit, I could make it work. It's like But I mean, I feel with stuff like this, people do have to show some responsibility and try to bring the hype down a bit, so people have good awareness. So that would be my not null. Like, I think people should really just, if you're going to be talking about AI, don't just listen to YouTube, listen to some people that actually work in the industry to kind of get a better, more even perspective on things.
That's it. Great point. Cool. Okay, Sarah, what you got?
So Kevin, I'm so glad that you said your mailbox is down the street and you have to have a key to open it, because my not null is USPS informed delivery. I don't know if this is just for our US based listeners, but USPS informed delivery is almost my favorite thing. And my mailbox is literally the end of my driveway. And I won't go open my mailbox unless there's actually something that's coming. And I get an email every day that shows me exactly what's coming to my mailbox, if I have any packages coming. And so I will go days without going down to my mailbox, even though it's literally like 2 feet away. So I sign up here for USPS, also sign up for free accounts at FedEx and for UPS, and you'll get notifications of like any packages that are coming from any of those services. And it's my favorite thing. So
they sent you a photo?
You don't know about this? Like, I thought I was totally going to be like saying something that everybody already knew. Yeah, it has pictures of every piece of mail that will be in my mailbox.
Including the junk stuff, right? Because literally my mailbox is 99% junk.
Yeah, including the junk stuff. Like, there's a picture of the stupid ad, like,
I
if
swear
it's
I
like,
ordered that DVD. I don't know how that got there. It's like, but I guess they know what you're ordering anyway, because they're delivering your mail.
Yeah.
Well, like, so it's just like it shows. It's just the outside of the mail. Like, if it's a package, it's just going to have the like tracking number for the package. It's not going to have like a picture of the package, because it just goes through a scanner.
Will it show me if the One Ring card is in that package?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, it will. It will, Bobby.
Nice. I was going to say, if this was an Amazon service, I'd be like, would you like us to open your mail and tell you what's in it? Like, so you could just have an easier time for.
And if we don't like it, we won't send it to you.
Yeah.
Exactly. I thought I had this service, but I'm confusing it with not going to my mailbox and getting a notice saying how they will stop delivering my mail because there's nothing else that could fit in it. I think that's what I get.
Yeah. Unless I'm expecting something, I'm like, I don't actually go to the mailbox. It just fills with junk, and I don't rely on it for anything other than I get like a couple of deliveries every month. I get a coffee delivery, which they seem to be putting in the mailbox. That's the only reason I go to the mailbox, is to pick up my coffee, and I know when that's arriving.
Yeah.
So this could be interesting.
I know. I literally I'll look at my email and be like, yeah, I'm not going to the mailbox today. And like, I'm not even kidding. It's like 3 feet away.
My problem with my mailbox is I live in an intersection in my neighborhood, and I'm on my 4th one. People keep running it over.
Oh, wow.
I was standing in my front yard one time, and this bus was backing up.
Jeez.
And the bus ran over my mailbox, and you could hear all the kids, go on, Frank. He didn't see you. And I was like, I'm standing right here.
And you used his name.
No,
like, come on, man.
License plate.
Yeah, he's called the school, be like, hey, your driver,
school
Frank.
bus.
Can I speak with Frank, please?
That's crazy. Yeah, I would definitely sign up for this. I like this. Not heard of it. I will be signing up for it immediately after this. I'll let you know how it goes next week.
I'm glad. Like, I'm so happy because I literally thought, because I've had it for years. So, but like, I was trying to think of like, what do I use like every single day? And I'm like, informed delivery. I use that every single day.
Do they have like a good process to figure out if you're actually the owner of the mailbox? Like, I can't go like my ex-wife's mailbox and I sign up for it to look at her.
It's been years since I signed up for it. I don't even remember the sign.
I'll tell you next week, because that is interesting. Like, what would stop you from signing up for somebody else's? That's interesting. Yeah, I'll tell you next week, because I'll sign up for this afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a null and a not null. My null Twitter.
Starts with T, ends with Witter.
Yeah, lots of TNT with it because,
What are they doing
I'm
over
on
there?
day 9 now, and I've heard absolutely zero from them, by the way. Nothing to my response, to my, like,
Bobby and I
appeal.
both tweeted
Nothing.
it, too.
A lot of people did.
There's nobody
Yeah.
working there, man. There is nobody
They
working.
got
I'm
kicked out of
convinced.
their office.
Yeah, I am convinced there is nobody actually manning this anymore, and I am convinced I'm in forever purgatory. Like, I don't think I can come back from this, so it is what it is.
Maybe send a tweet directly to Elon.
Yeah.
Well, I would if I
He's
could.
got
but
the
I can't.
access, right?
Right? He doesn't care. He's off
He's like,
doing his weird
yeah,
stuff.
approved. Fine.
So I'm gonna do 2 not knows this. I'll kind of keep them quick. I'm gonna do 2 not knows. One is T2 Social, which is an alternative to Twitter, because why not? Like, screw Twitter, I'll up somebody else's like social game. So it's a small social network at this point in time. I signed up for it a long time ago, and they gave me invites, and I sent them all to you guys.
Yep.
But it's a Twitter alternative. It's in kind of its early kind of beta. It's still a work in progress. There's only about 6,000 something users on it right now. But so far, out of that and Blue Sky, it's been better than Blue Sky. Blue Sky's been kind of a little bit weird. Not as much of a fan of it. I think it's better. It has more potential. Definitely, it's more like Twitter was in the early days, for sure. It's t2.social. I think you can actually just, because I'm signed in, or am I logged in? I'm not logged in. So you can go here and you can join a waitlist if you're not already on here. They have a PWA app too you can sign up for, or you can get, which is pretty good. There's no app yet. There's no iOS app. There's no Android app, but it's pretty good. Again, small community. So far, everybody's been super nice. No weird stuff. No like arguments that I've seen. Just nothing crazy. Everybody's been like community friendly. So hopefully it's good. We'll see.
What are we
like it
going to
so
do
far.
tonight, Brain? Same thing we do every night, Mickey. Try to take over the world.
There you go. That's a typical tweet that's on there, or a typical, what do they call them? Post that is on. They don't call them
Sure.
posts. My other not know is Black Mirror. New season just came out on Netflix. I binge watched it over the weekend. If you're into sci-fi dystopian stuff, go watch it. Not just season 6 though. I'm gonna recommend the whole thing because there's 6 seasons of. If you've never watched it, please go watch it. Some of them are great. Some of them aren't so great. Like in this new season, Joan is Awful is really good. Beyond the Sea is really good. But previous seasons, White Bear, Nosedive, Crocodile, USS Callister, really, really, really good episodes of this. It's very, it's near future, kind of like dystopian, and they don't often end very well, which is not typical for today's TV, right? Today's TV, they have to have a happy ending. Black Mirror signs up for the fact that you will not get a happy ending about 90% of the time.
It's very modern day Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
it is very modern
basically.
day Twilight Zone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the new
cool.
season delves into some more like non-tech stuff. It's more like fantasy kind of stuff, and there's werewolves in one. And it's kind of like it's a little bit different, but yeah, it's great. Black Mirror. It's my not know for watching this week.
I
Okay.
have a quick question for you, Kevin, because
yeah,
I heard
go
you
for it.
mention coffee. What do you recommend for coffee?
Oh, this could be my not know for next week, but I'll give it to you this week. A company
little
called
preview.
Trade. A little preview. Trade.
Trade.
And I'll tell you why. I only drink decaf coffee, which seems weird because I love coffee. And Trade has a massive amount of decaf recommendations.
Do you get tea
So-
too?
That's
You get
exactly
tea?
what I was going to say, Bobby.
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I only get one type of tea.
I know you do. So I didn't know if they sold it. So
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think they do. But if I go and look at decaf options, there's a ton of them, and you basically queue them up, and then every so often you can set it's like a subscription service, but you pay per whatever you order, so you can order it as much as you like. So I have it set for every about. I find that I go through a bag about every 2.5 weeks because only I drink it, so you can set it up down to the day. So literally the day that mine runs out, usually based on what I usually drink, a new one comes in. It's great. And I get to choose from any one of these things. And you get, like, when you subscribe, you get to pay a little bit less than the retail price. And there's an app, you just queue it up, and the next one just ships out to you in 2.5 weeks. Next one, and you can get a new bag if you want earlier, or you can hold a bag or whatever you want. And because they have tons of options for decaf, this is why I go with them. I just got this one in the mail yesterday. So
Nice.
it's great. So you get really, really good. And the cool thing is it's super fresh too. It's super fresh roasted. Like the bag that I got of this yesterday was roasted on the 16th.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, it's perfect for coffee. If you know anything about coffee, like you want to be about a week out from when it was roasted before you drink it for the perfect cup. So you literally get it at the perfect time to start drinking. I would highly recommend it. So trade another not know this week, I guess, because you asked.
Nice.
44 years old. I've never had coffee in my life.
Wow. Wow.
You drink tea?
My wife doesn't like coffee.
No. I drink
caffeine
water,
period.
people. I drink water.
Wow.
I literally don't drink anything else. Like, I love water.
I like water too, but I love coffee as well. I have a
I love
espresso
coffee.
machine, and it's just like use the really good coffee, and it's just. Yeah.
I drink tea. That's what I drink. Kevin's got me on tea, and now I know how to make tea. That's what I drink.
Nice. To me, it's got to be some seltzer type of water because I can't drink water; it just doesn't sit well. And then coffee.
You told us about your fancy French Perrier water.
Yeah, exactly.
Peru.
Drink any sparkling water; it doesn't even have to be fancy.
But you prefer the fancy French kind.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with Ted Lasso on the sparkling water.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm not a fan.
That is a funny sequence when he talks about that.
Like, no, that's awful.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. Something weird about it because you expect that to be a taste like a pop or a soda, or whatever. There isn't one. Like, it's just strange.
Hard pass.
Okay, let's wrap this up. We'll be back again next week with episode 20. We'll have done 20 of these things next week. That's kind of cool. So yeah, we will
see you next week.
Bye.